This is a hard question. A lot of people get it wrong. It's one of those cases where, predicting the question does help us, but there's still a little bit of a trick. So, as always, we want to look at the choices and try to understand what it might be about before we really dive in. I look at this and I say, oh, okay, there's maybe some singulars and plurals, specifically two plural verbs. So I need to think about what I'm talking about here. There's lots of things in the sentence. They're all plural, so that's okay. And then we would think about tense, and specifically when we think about tense, we need to think about symmetry, right? The tense of our verb is not random. It matches something. We can point to something in the sentence and say, this is why I have to choose this tense. So the problem with this particular sentence is there's a couple verbs. So what most people do is they say, oh, we're talking about the cats. The cats are ridding the museum of mice, rats, and other rodents. And so I need scaring to match that. But put that in there. Think about the sentence. That is a valid way of kind of constructing the sentence, but the meaning gets messed up if we do that, right? The cats have guarded this famous museum, ridding it of mice, rats, and other rodents, not to mention scaring off visitors. So the cats are ridding it of mice and scaring off visitors? Well, no, the cats are good. We like the cats. That's the point of the passage, right? The cats are good. So the cats are not scaring off the visitors. So choice B is the answer most people pick when they get it wrong, because you are kind of doing what you're supposed to do. You're finding a matching verb in the sentence and saying, oh, there's my symmetry. But one of the tools, or one of the tricks that the SAT has on these symmetry questions is they know you're doing that. And so they kind of structure things in a way where there's other ways to, create symmetry in the sentence. But we do need to pay attention to what we're saying. And so in this case, doing that would completely undermine the point of the passage. So we need to find a different verb. What are we really saying? We're not saying that the cats do two things, right? We are saying that the mice, rats, and other rodents do two things. The mice, rats, and other rodents damage the art and scare off the visitors. Two things. Both of them bad, because mice, rats, and other rodents are bad, at least in this passage. So, in a way, once we see that, the answer is obvious. Like, it literally couldn't be any other answer. Like, it makes total sense. Like, oh, okay, that's the tense. I'm pointing to something. But I think just they did a really good job here creating a sentence that lures us in another direction. And it happens. They're good at this. The SAT has been doing this for decades, so they're good at it. My piece of advice here is just to know now that that is a thing that they can do. And so when you are trying to match up tenses, just consider the meaning of the sentence, the meaning of what you're trying to say. It'll almost always be a list of some kind, right? So in this case, two things, a list of two things. And so just make sure the list makes sense, that you're constructing the correct list, basically. It's not going to come up often, but I hope that if you did get this wrong, just making this mistake once helps you kind of file it away in your brain so that you know to check for it in the future and prevent this mistake on what is truly a hard question. So it's a nice 10 points to get if you can remember to check for this.